wonders here. You see 1, 2, 3, and back here, in the kitchen back here, you can see we have another dish. So there's 3 dishes going today. Should we tell them a little bit what we're doing? When we're cooking, and we spend basically a whole day cooking, and we try to cram 3 shows into 1 day of recording, and therefore you see that. So the next show here, and coming up from this here, probably be towards the end of April. But these are really nice cakes. And what do you call it? Casserole back?
Yeah, the chicken noodle casserole, the coconut pineapple cake, and then the peanut butter pies with chocolate graham cracker crust.
Right.
Good morning. I'm Tricia Bear from the Culinary Command Post, and today I'm going to show you how to make pineapple coconut cake. So, our ingredients we're going to need is we're going to need 1 can of crushed pineapple, 2 eggs, a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, 1 cup of sugar, and a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And then I also add half of one of these small pineapple juice cans because it gives it more moisture and it makes it stay moist for a week. So that's in addition to the recipe that we're going to do. And the dry ingredients is going to be your 2 cups of flour, your 2 sticks of butter, your 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then your baking soda, which is also it's 2 teaspoons. So 2 teaspoons of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to do the icing after we do the cake itself. I've got the oven on 350 degrees. And so we're going to mix our wet ingredients first with the sugar. So I'm going to do 1 can of crushed pineapple with the juice. You don't want to drain the juice off of it because, again, that makes it moist. Okay, so 1 can, and this is a 20-ounce can of crushed pineapple. And then we're going to have first we're going to add the sugar first. So we're going to add the 1 cup of sugar. We're going to mix together the eggs, the sugar, the vegetable oil, and the pineapple. 1/2 cup of brown sugar. 1/4 cup of oil, and this is vegetable oil, and then 2 whole eggs, and I always put my eggs in a cup before I put them back into the mix because I don't want the eggshells to get in there because sometimes it's hard to find them. So I just crack one and put them in a cup. And that way I make sure there's no eggshells in them. And then I'm going to use part of this small can of pineapple juice. Just a little bit of it. So we're going to mix our wet ingredients with the sugar first. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients. Okay, so we just mixed up our wet ingredients with the sugar. We're going to also spray our pan. And I've got the oven on 350 degrees, preheating. And I usually spray the pan and then kind of wipe off the excess, just to make sure it's all spread around evenly. Okay, so now we have a bowl and we're going to mix our dry ingredients, which is the 2 cups of sifted all-purpose flour, and then we're going to put in our baking soda, which is 2 teaspoons, or half a teaspoon of salt, and we're just going to barely mix it with the whisk and then put it in with our wet ingredients. Okay, so I'm adding my flour mixture to my wet ingredients. I'm just going to add a little at a time. Okay, be sure to scrape down the sides. And the butter, we're actually going to use the butter on the icing. Just a minute. It doesn't go in the cake itself. It's going to be used with the icing. And we're actually going to cook the icing on the stove. Okay, so we're going to pour that into our sprayed pan. It's a 9 by 13 pan. Okay, we're going to put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes until the center comes out clean when you stick a toothpick in it. Our oven's ready at 350, so we're going to put it in the oven. We're going to start out at 25 minutes, but it's probably going to take 30 depending on your stove. Okay, so we're going to let that cook for about 25 minutes. So now we're going to make our icing for it. And we're actually going to put the icing on the cake when it's hot. So when it comes out of the oven, we're going to go ahead and put it on top of the cake. Okay, so our icing ingredients is going to be 1.5 cups of sugar, 2 cups of coconut, which this bag's about 2 1/4, so we're going to go ahead and put the whole bag in there. It's sweetened coconut. And then we're going to put 1 cup of pecans, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And then once we get done putting that on the cake, then we're going to add cherries on top of the cake. And then we're also going to add our evaporated milk. Now we're going to cook the icing on the stove. And we're going to bring it to a boil, and then we're going to let it simmer for 10 minutes. So now we're going to make our icing for our coconut pineapple cake on the stove while we have it in the oven. So I'm going to turn it on medium-high. And our ingredients is going to be the 1.5 cups of sugar, the 1 can of evaporated milk, which this is a 12-ounce can. Then we're going to add 2 sticks of melted or softened butter. One teaspoon of vanilla. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And our pecans, which is about 1 cup of pecans. And we're going to stir all of that until it comes to a boil, and we're going to let it simmer. We'll let it simmer about 10 minutes. And it's actually going to be poured on top of the cake as soon as it comes out of the oven, once it gets done. It reminds me of like a German chocolate icing. And then we're going to add the 2 cups of coconut too. And if you want, you could toast your pecans in the oven a few minutes before you actually put them into the icing. It just brings out the extra flavor that nuts have when you heat them up. Okay, so we're going to let it come to a boil, and then we're going to lower the heat and let it simmer for 10 minutes once it boils. Okay, so we've had our pineapple coconut cake in the oven for about 35 minutes. And so we're going to take it out and pour the icing on top. We cooked it for 350 degrees for 35 minutes. Your oven may take 40, but it's 35 to 40 minutes. And that's how it should look. And then the center should come out clean with a toothpick. Okay, and then now we're going to pour our coconut icing on that we cooked on the stove. We're going to pour it on top right when it's hot. Right here. And you're just going to pour it all over the cake. While it's hot, make sure your coconut spread out. Now you can cook all the ingredients together and put it on the stove and let it simmer, or you can add the coconut and the pecans after it's done simmering. Once you take it off the stove, it works both ways. The recipe calls for it to add it once it's done simmering for 10 minutes. To add the coconut and the pecans. But I wanted to see by cooking the pecans on the stove, would it still add that extra nutty flavor. I'm going to spread it out so coconut's on each piece, and then I'm going to put some maraschino cherries on it. And I just space them out so that each piece of cake gets at least one cherry. And I put the very bottom of the cherry face down so you can't see it. And then you just let the cake cool, and then it's ready to cut after it cools. So I'm putting 6 cherries in a line. And I kind of push in the cherries so they stay in the icing when you go to cut it. They don't always stay, but I kind of push them down into the cake. And as it cools, it should hold most of them. And that's how you make pineapple coconut cake. Thanks for watching.
All right, so let's have a little taste. Ooh, that's a big piece. That's a really big piece.
Okay, try that and see what you think. I'm gonna
All
try
right,
it just
so
because.
this is
the pineapple coconut cake. Super easy to make.
a lot of coconut in here.
Put a little on the plate over here. See?
You have cinnamon in it?
No. No cinnamon.
No, it's the coconut. It's the coconut.
Everything else but that.
It's great. Tastes very good. Calorie rich for my tummy.
Yep.
It's wonderful.
Super easy to make.
Super easy. Well,
Oh,
it's
good.
not easy for me.
It's easy. I'm telling you. If I can do it, you can do it.
You're doing good.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
I
All
promise.
right, every Sunday, 2 p.m. and join us. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Give us a subscription. It helps us. It helps Trisha in the algorithms and everything. So smash that button. Hit the bell. When you hit the bell, you actually get notified. Every time we publish a new video, you will get a little notification, and we go from there.
All right. Thanks for watching.
Bye bye.